Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. Hey everyone, and welcome to another gtaonline video here on the channel. Over 6 years ago, I made a video talking about how the big bomber planes like the Volatile and the Bombushka, which were the only bomber planes in the game at the time as the Alkinost came out in the Kyapriko update a year later, but I made a video talking about how those planes were very underwhelming and just useless. They are these massive planes that are dedicated bomber planes, but actually end up being the worst planes to use for bombing. Because despite their large size, they still can only hold the same exact bomb types and same number of bombs as the smallest planes in the game, like the Starling. They all hold 50. And the Starling is faster, more agile, and is a very capable dogfighter at the same time with more weapons other than just bombs. So, knowing that, what's the reason to even be using one of those larger bomber planes? The answer is there isn't, which is precisely why they need some major changes. In the last DLC, we got the Titan 250D, and while it's not perfect, it's by far the best big plane they've made. The 105 cannon is very strong against people on foot. I do think they should revert the range nerf on the other two weapons though. I think that was just unnecessary and makes them kind of useless. But the armor is actually plausible for an aircraft of its size, taking multiple hits before being able to go down. And so clearly, they are capable of making a big plane that is both good and really fun to use. So I want to see that same energy brought to the Alkinost, Bombushka, and the Volatile. Now I know the Bombushka did get an armor buff recently, but compared to the Titan, it's still not enough. It's still not enough armor to make it usable, because the Bombushka is still so much slower than the Titan 250D is, and it still doesn't even have the armor that the Titan 250 has, so what is the point? If anything, the Bombushka should have more armor than the Titan does, but it doesn't. So let's talk about a few significant buffs that these planes should get. Number 1, a flat-out substantial armor buff across the board. Each of these planes, the Volatile, Bombushka, and Alkinost, should get armor that is comparable to the Titan 250D. The Alkinost is the biggest plane that we can own in gtaonline, as it's the only one in the extra large class. And it's as weak as any other dogfighter plane. It's a gigantic target in the sky, and you could hit it with a railgun or explosive sniper if you played it blindfolded. It's that easy. So at the very least, they all need to have the armor of the Titan 250D, an ability where parts of the aircraft can't be shot off from just one explosive. But that's just the bare minimum, because even with an armor buff, it still wouldn't give us a reason to use those big bomber planes, because it's still flat out harder to bomb things with them than it is with any other more agile aircraft, which still makes them obsolete. So the next thing they would need to do is give the Bombushka, Alkinost, and Volatile access to a new bomb type called high explosive bombs. These would only be available for these big planes, and I even made a little UI concept for what it would look like in the upgrades menu here. They'd cost $200,000 because these would be the most powerful bomb types, and the description would read, high explosive payload which produces massive radial damage on impact, capacity 50. And while we're at it, anything that isn't the high explosive bomb type should have the capacity set to 100 instead of 50. They should hold way more of the smaller bombs. But for the high explosive one, the bomb explosion would essentially be the same explosion effect and blast radius of the Titan 250D 105mm cannon shot. In other words, they are essentially orbital cannon bombs. And these should have the power to completely annihilate armored vehicles and basically one-shot any vehicle in the game if it hits close enough to them. People on foot would die even just being in any part of the blast radius. And if you think that would be overpowered, it really wouldn't. These planes have no other reason to exist other than to bomb things. So they need to actually live up to their name if you want people to use them. And just look at the size of the bomb bay on the Alkinost. It is huge, but the bombs that drop out of the massive bomb bay are just Tic Tacs in comparison. So what they could do is just take the model of the standard explosive bomb and just scale it up and make that the model of the high explosive one. So basically it'd just be much bigger. Imagine how much fun it would be to do something like a headhunter with the Alkinost if it had these bombs, where you can just carpet bomb the entire street with them and wipe out the target instantly. Or just doing any mission that requires you to take out a group of enemies in one spot, you could just destroy everyone in one pass, as a carpet bomber plane should be able to do. It would actually make these aircraft viable. And because armored vehicles are really powerful right now in gtaonline, this could be a great counter for those vehicles. And I don't think this would be that hard for them to implement either, because it's just reusing assets that already exist in the game. The explosion particle effect and explosion data from the orbital cannon or the Titan 105 cannon. The model from the standard bombs just scaled a little bit up to make it bigger. The sound effect could just be reused from the dozens of explosion sound effects that exist in the game right now. It would just feel great for these vehicles to finally have a use in the game after so many years. Let me know your thoughts on this though. Do you want to see these aircraft get some much needed improvements? And if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like, as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. I also want to give a huge shout out to all of my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.